How many of you have been to a funeral? I've been to a lot of funerals, and there is something about funeral messages I've found out that is so well suiting, self suiting, and is so beautiful that you could at times fall asleep at times listening to it. And most times they call witnesses to witness on behalf of the deceased person. And at times, you and I know that most of us, if it's our relatives or friends, you know that those witnesses are lying. So, and you are beginning to wonder, wasn't funeral or shouldn't funeral be a point where the incident is used to correct or fix the lives of the living? It should be a time where the living learn what to do, what not to do, and the right path to follow. But it seems like funeral has turned to be they feed the listeners with beautiful lies instead of the ideal truth of what to hear. And that leads me to what I want to talk about today, and that's funeral religion and kingdom. Someone asked me the other time, that's how will I know that we are fallen kings and fallen queens? That's a very interesting question, and I want to address that question in this video. Okay, first of all, we have to know what is a kingdom before we could to give us a head start. First of all, a kingdom is a country, state, or territory ruled by a king, a queen, or a person. So a kingdom is a territory or a state or a country ruled by a person or a king or a queen. Okay, a territory is a place where you have control over. A territory is a certain jurisdiction where you are in charge of. Okay, your life, who is in charge of your life? You are. Your body, who is in charge of your body? You are. So it qualifies you as a king or a queen because your body is a territory. Now, um, we have two types of territories. We have inner territory and outer territory or outside territory. The inner territory is our mind, our soul, our thinking, faculty, our will, our ability to reason. That's our inner territory. Our outer territory are the things around us, our environments. You know, the elements within our environments are the outside or the outer territory. Now, within these two territories, you have to control one to be able to control the other. If not, one controls the other. So if you cannot control the inner territory effectively, then you do not qualify to control the outer territory effectively. So the first control starts from the inside. Okay, now the next thing is when you abuse your control as a king or a queen or a person who rules over a territory, which is yourself. Now the state or the government has to put you in a solitary confinement as a means of re-establishing the sense to let you understand that you abused your authority, your power. You know, when a queen or a king abuses their authority or the power they have, it has consequences. So, if you, as a king or a queen, ruling your territory, which is yourself, because you, as an entity, you are a kingdom, that's what they never told you. Now, if you abuse your power or your authority as a person, the government puts you in prison or jails you to help you realize the sense of the capacity of who you are. That's why at times when people go to prison, and when they're out, their life changes because there is a realization that I have messed up, I have abused my authority, my power. Now, there is something significant while doing these studies I found out. In biology, there are different classifications of kingdoms. We have kingdom fungi, plantia, bacteria, animalia. Now, if these classifications exist, and in kingdom animalia you find primates or mammals, which human beings falls within these categories, then it means that you and we are kingdoms. As an individual existing entity, we are kingdoms individually. So it means you are a kingdom yourself, I'm a kingdom myself, and I'm the king in my kingdom. You are the king in your kingdom, or the queen in your kingdom. Now, one thing with kingdoms, when you study about kingdoms, is that they take pride in glory. They take pride in showing off. The glory of a kingdom is showing off how glorious the king is, or the kingdom is, or the queen is. Now, that means you have to live or do excellent work, to show off your glory. Now, that's also synonymous to humans. When we live an effective life, we are taking charge of our responsibility or our kingdom, then we are living effective life, then we glory in ourselves. This is what I have achieved. This is what I have achieved all these years. I'm proud of myself for doing this, or I'm proud of myself for doing that. But when you are not living an effective life, when you are not in control of your territory, you will not be proud of the results that you've achieved in your kingdom, which is you. I hope you're understanding the dichotomy of what I'm talking about. So, what they never told you was every living human is a kingdom, and every kingdom has rules, principles that governs it. Now, humans, we are kingdoms individually. We cannot do the work of a bird. You cannot fly. We don't have wings. I don't have wings. So there are rules that govern the existing parameters of a human being. There are rules and principles that I cannot do what the other classifications might do effectively. When you go to the top of a roof and there is a bird there, two things happens when you jump. The bird goes up, you will definitely go down. Gravity will pull you. Now, why is it that gravity does not pull the bird? Why? The bird is naturally built to fly. There are rules that prevent gravity from pulling the bird. Now, when the bird violates the principles of flying, gravity pulls it down. Do you understand my point? That's why I say there are rules and principles that governs a kingdom, that when you violate it, you will be punished. Okay, back to the funeral religion. It's all about telling us it's okay to lie, cheat, kill, and tell us beautiful nonsense, sweet nonsense. One thing I've noticed about religion is it has taken the place of kingdom. Kingdom. You are a king, and the dome is your existence. Now, how will I put it? They've replaced kingdoms with religion. That's why there's a lot of confusion in the world, because people are going to religion to have a sense of who they are. Now, there is no relationship between a kingdom and religion. There is no relationship. These are two unparalleled paths. They are diametrically opposed to each other. Now, because they are unparalleled paths, there is no way this one will take you back to this. The kingdom will take you far from yourself, making you dependent on something else to fulfill you. While the kingdom tells you that you are responsible for your life. You abuse your responsibilities, you have to pay for it. There are consequences for abusing your responsibility as a king or as a queen. There are no in between. Now, the sole purpose of funeral religion is dethroning queens and kings from their kingdom. Religion has done a very bad job that it makes us dependent on preachers, pastors, religious people. They say that in religion, you always leave something. Christians leave their brain when they walk to the church, and Muslims leave their shoe when they walk to the mosque. So somebody leaves something. So it means there is something dynamically wrong with religion that it has not addressed. Religion takes people out of who they should be, they are. I was raised by I was brought up in a religious scenario, but after I found out these realities, I found out that religion is taking us far from who we are supposed to be. You see people who are religious, they hate on each other, they backbite, they kill, they steal, they poison each other. But you are still religious. They murder each other. Now, what is the essence of religion? But as a king or a kingdom, when you murder someone, government puts you to jail. They jail you. Once you kill someone, you are a culprit. The government keeps you in a solitary confinement for you to realize that you messed up. That's the problem we have. When you meet a random person and tell them that you are a king or a queen, they'll ask you, how am I a king? How am I a queen? Where can I find my kingdom? But they never knew that they are the real kingdoms that we are talking about. Before, kingdoms do exist: kingdom of Rome, kingdom of Greece, kingdom of a lot of kingdoms. A lot of Zulu kingdom, and a lot of kingdoms existed in the past. But over time, these kingdoms have been eroded in the history. But who formed the kingdoms? These kingdoms were formed by individuals. And you see, you can't find true identity outside who you are. You can't expect an outsider to tell you who you are. No, they can't tell you exactly who you really are. So kingdoms is the real thing. You are a king and you are a queen. If we are classified into a kingdom biologically, then a male is either a prince or a king, while a female is either a princess or a queen. Deal. Case closed. If we are classified as kingdom animalia, if biology was wise enough to classify us in the kingdom, then it means a female is a princess or a queen, and a male is a king or a prince. There is no two ways about it. But they will never tell you that. They will want you to believe that, take it easy. You need to learn the dynamical, statistical, provisional way that the geographical sentiment works, and the economic, financial, procedures. They just use all these things to bamboozle you without you knowing that you are more than enough. You are more than enough. Okay, because they hardly talk about kingdoms, you think your history started in slavery. They hardly tell you about the kingdom, Zulu kingdom, some of these ancient kingdoms. So you think that your history started in slavery. Okay, let me ask you a very, very shocking question. In biology, there is a kingdom of... In biology, is there a kingdom of slavery? Or a kingdom of middle class? Some of you that did science or studied biology, is there a kingdom of low-class income earners? Is there a kingdom of high-income earners? Is there a kingdom of slavery? None of that exists. That's to tell you that these lies are organized, perpetrated to make you feel inferior from who you are. I want to reassure you today that you are a king, you are a queen, and you have more than it takes to rule your kingdom. I hope this helps you to live a beautiful life. Until next time, about us.